Hey everybody, Omar here, your knife with a party guy. It's been a while since I've done a video, and I thought I would just go over all of the South African knives in my collection. I do have a smaller collection made up of only two knives, which is a French knife and a Japanese knife, but I'm going to get to that collection at a later time when, I get, something more to talk about on that collection. This is part one of my year in review video of all my South African knives. So for all of you guys that have followed my channel in the last year, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the support. I'm just a hobbyist that loves South African knives and does enjoy collecting them. And with further ado, I'm just going to ramble off the names of these knives in this part one of this collection. So this is part one, meaning the large knives. Part two will be the medium and small. I'm going to try and remember all the names of these knives. Some of these knives do not actually have names, so I'm just going to describe what's on the knife as I go through the entire large collection that you see here. So if I don't remember the name of the knife, please forgive me. It just goes with the territory of owning a collection this large. So, without further ado, let's start with this one. This one is made by Des Hoorn, and this is called the Flip Vubu. This knife here has Damascus bolsters and a material called CTEK, which is an inorganic material. Damascus is also an inorganic material, but CTEK is actually a combination of materials. So this is actually made up of wire and resin and I believe G10 and a bunch of other stuff to give it that look. I'm not really a big fan of like one or two of these inorganic materials. Like, for example, G10. Not a big fan of G10. To me, G10 is just a filler material. But the way Des Hoorn built this knife with that material on it, he mixed it in with other materials so that it gives the knife a really different look. The knife runs on ceramic ball bearings, but as you can see, we got like this honeycomb sort of, honeycomb design on it with these three screws that are sort of jeweled in. You can tell it's made by hand because, the spacing of the screws, they do seem to be a little bit off, but I think that's also part of the art. It's pretty cool to have that. We also have a blue titanium pocket clip. The action on this is amazing. The steel on this is, trying to remember, it's Nitrobe 77, which is sort of a foreign steel here in the United States, but in South Africa, it's almost just as powerful as M390. It's a very rare steel, and the steel cuts like crazy. It's a signature steel, Nitrobe 77. I believe Des Hoorn is the only knife maker in the world that has all the ownership of that steel, from what I heard. I don't know. So let's go ahead and move on really quickly. This one is by John Arnold. And this one's called the Tactical Simba folder. We've got Damascus blade, and we've got carbon fiber handles, and a moon glow back spacer. This thing glows in the dark. I'm not going to show that to you now, but I did do a video where I showed that it did glow in the dark. So if you want to check my channel out, see the full review on this knife, you can. This is a tactical folder. It's got sort of a, a modified Wharncliffe style blade on it. It is tactical. We've also got, sort of a little pointed back spacer here where you could use it like a Kubotan, use it like a Kubotan for, defending yourself. So it's a tactical folder overall. It's also a front flipper, which is my favorite type of knife. what makes this knife so unique, again, this knife, all the knives in this collection are made by hand. There are no machines in the making of this knife. So what makes this knife so unique is if I pull it this way, you can see it's sort of rounded in shape to fit your hand. Hours of hard work to do that, to get the handle to be sort of rounded a little bit, sort of fit your hand really nicely. Really beautifully well done. Sort of funky looking, which is why I like it. Had to have this one, so yeah, there you go. Again, this is an entire collection of South African knives. So the next one is called the Trevor Burger the car flipper. And we have titanium bolster and lightning strike carbon fiber on it. It's another favorite of mine. We've also got the titanium gray, titanium or silver, titanium pocket clip. Runs on ceramic ball bearings. Really well made. Very, very smooth. Trevor Burger, on some of his knives, his detents are incredibly soft. So, I mean, if you shake the knife, well, actually, I can't do it on the camera, but this knife, you can actually shake it open, and it'll just open. So this one does have a soft detent, but still, really very smooth, as you can tell. Basically, you just release the liner lock, and it just falls. So, really well done. We've got a carbon fiber backspacer going all the way up, which I do love. I love an all the way up backspacer on any knife. I only like two constructions. I like it if the construction is completely open or just has like one standoff where it's completely open. That I like. Not a big fan of like the half open construction knives where the backspacer comes up to about halfway, like about where my thumb is, and then ends. It just doesn't look continuous to me, and I like continuous. This one, again, we're back to John Arnold. This is actually my very first custom that I ever purchased, ever. I got this one at the Blade Gallery. Probably the only one that I'm not going to ever get rid of just because it's my first custom ever. This one has G10 and Ambonia burl inlays. One thing about John Arnold that makes his knives so unique is you know that this material, the black material here, is G10 and this is Ambonia burl wood. They're two separate materials in this knife, but how does he get it so smooth? Because you don't feel any lines, or you don't feel any difference between when I rub my finger across from here over to here. I don't feel the Ambonia, the G10 going into the Ambonia wood burl. I just don't feel it. So I don't know how he does that. It's on both sides of the knife. Which is something that I learned about customs. And custom knives, they usually, whatever they do on one side, they do on the other. On production knives, you know, any sort of like eye candy, most of the time it's done on just one side of the knife. I mean, it's just really difficult to do that on a production knife, to put eye candy on both sides of a knife because of, you know, time constraints and the fact that the production knives are actually made by machines. There's no machines made on any of these knives. These are all made completely by hand. This one runs on ceramic ball bearings. We've got an M390 blade. Sort of a, I guess a really, it's a drop point blade. You can see John Arnold's signature here. Right there. He's a part-time knife maker, but he ranks right up there, in my opinion, with Des Horn. He also ranks up there with Andre Thorburn, those guys. Ericus Blumeris, you know, those guys that pretty much are out in front and the face of South African knife making. Those guys really just do it up. This one is by J.D. Van Deventer. This one is called the, oh God, here we go. The Fluted. Yeah, this one actually doesn't have a name. That's it, thank God. This one is a knife. It's a tactical one made by J.D. Van Deventer. It's got fluted carbon fiber on it. It's a tactical folder. The blade steel is M390. This one runs on regular steel ball bearings, not ceramic, which is fine because I can't, on the way he does his action on a lot of the knives. This is actually an exception. On a lot of his knives, you really can't tell if they're on ceramic or steel, but he's got his action tuned in fairly smooth. And as you guys can see, this one's a very smooth piece. Just one material all the way through. We've got a pocket clip. I don't know what the pocket clip is made of. I don't think it's titanium. It almost feels like it's plastic, but I know it's not. Gotta check up on that. I don't know what that is, what the pocket clip is. We've got blue liners on this one. Really beautiful shape with the modified drop point. As you can see, obviously it's tactical. It's pretty much straight from here to here, and then it curves all the way up. But you can see where it's about ready to curve. It almost comes down to about a point right in this section here. If I hold it up to the light, you can tell it's not completely rounded out. It sort of comes to like a point in that area. So yeah, J.D. Van Deventer fluted carbon fiber. The next one, this one was actually made for me by Cosi Steenkamp. This is called the Samsung front flipper. We've got white Westinghouse for the handle and pivot. And then we've got red lightning strike carbon fiber on the bolster there. Really nice combination with the gold pocket clip. And the back spacer is really something else. If I open it up, I think you can probably see it. There it is. Yeah, I'll hold it up to the light there. There it is. You can see like sparkles. There you go. In the knife. See how they have like those gold sparkles in there? That makes it kind of a nice little thing there. This is a really beautiful front flipper. Very classic in style. Not too over the top. But still, no less compelling. I do like the white Westinghouse on this. It's got sort of that aged look, which is really kind of nice. And you got a nice gold titanium pocket clip. If I didn't say it before, the blade steel is M390. This one is one of Deshorn's more sort of expensive offerings. This one comes in a nice leather case. I didn't bring that out. But this one is the large ball release. We've got, and it's a full dress piece too. Yeah, we've got a, and if you guys aren't familiar with full dress pieces, a full dress piece is a knife where every part of the knife is covered in art. There's nothing that doesn't have some sort of artwork on it. So we've got a Damascus blade, drop point blade on this one. We've got a jeweled pivot, and the bolster is made of zirconium. And we've also got carbon fiber for the handle. The shiny stuff you see there is a signature laminate that Deshorn does, which I like, because if I move it around a little bit in the light, you can see it gives it that sort of 3D effect, which is really kind of cool. The back spacer, again, Damascus. So you got Damascus on the blade running all the way through the back spacer. Completely closed. I love that. Again, that's like one of my favorite things on my custom knives. It's completely closed. Just a beautiful piece. The action on this is really good. This is more of a slow closing knife. You don't like close it, the conventional way. You do it with your hand. It's a knife that doesn't even have a pocket clip because it gives you a slip with that. It's sort of a gentleman folder, and definitely one that I do love in this collection. It's probably one of my more ones that I usually go to when I carry something fancy. I always get that Deshorn one in there. Moving on, I'm going to move over here, and then we'll get to these at last. So this one is the A2 knife. This is an A2 knife. A2 is a dual combination knife, knife made by Andre Van Heerden, who's the lead on A2 knives, and then Andre Thorburn. So basically the design of the knife is left up to Andre Van Heerden. He's the one that designs the entire knife, and also the design of the knife, and he's the one that also shapes all the pieces on the knife. Andre Thorburn is responsible for the action on the knife and putting it all together. So that's his contribution to A2 knives. But yeah, inherently though, the design is mostly Andre Van Heerden's work. He does enjoy collaborating with Andre Thorburn and I believe other knife makers. He does do solo knives, but not too often, which is the reason why A2 Knives exists. This one has snakewood. It's called the A2A11 knife. That's what this one is, the A2A11. It's got snakewood on it. Yeah, as you can see the lines, it almost, it's got the brown color. It's sort of dark mahogany. It does look really very beautiful. Snakewood. We've got gold liners and I guess a silver pocket clip. Give it sort of contrast. The action on this is amazing. Check that out. Let's do that again. I love it when it does that. So you close it. And it closes by itself. I just love that. One more time. Check it out, man. I've never seen the knife do that, where you just sort of close it halfway and then gravity pretty much just does it on its own. I just love that. So the A2A11, and I've got 3 A2 knives. We're going to get to all of them eventually, not in this video, but in the next one. This one was made for me again by John Arnold. He's definitely a go-to knife maker that I go to. One of the main reasons is because his knives don't cost as much as other knife makers' knives, because he's a part-time knife maker. This one's called the Mufata. This one's really beautiful. We've got a yin-yang thing going on. We've got white Westinghouse handles, and the bolster is zirconium with a titanium pocket clip. The blade steel is M390. Really funky looking. It's called the Mufata. Mufata in South African means fat man. And John Arnold used to be quite heavy, and I think he wanted this knife to be the signature knife that kind of describes him. I guess, his soul was in this knife, I guess. One of the most beautiful things about this knife was, this was my idea to have it have the yin-yang. I actually talked out the design with John Arnold, and he agreed that, the yin-yang thing was something he had never done before. And he did it really well, where you have a gold screw and then I guess a black or blue screw in the zirconium to give it that yin-yang feature. So, I mean, if you actually took your finger or your made a circle, you can see that it's just a yin-yang on there. So a front flipper piece, really nice, really modified, I don't know, drop point, I guess you'd want to say, but it's just really unique looking. So most people that actually own this knife in their collection or get a South African knife, more than likely, they may wind up with just this knife as the only South African knife they will ever own, because it's so funky looking. I mean, you're never going to see one like that. So you can definitely tell this is made by hand. Runs on ceramic ball bearings. We've also got a carbon fiber back spacer with blue titanium liners. Really nice. He's actually made this knife so you can open it with your thumb. And he's also done it so you can open it with your index finger. Either way, just as comfortable. I like that. You can even finger flick it with your middle finger. Use the hole. Yeah, it easily opens that way. Very, very smooth action with the ceramic ball bearings doing that. So this one's definitely a favorite of mine. This one's by Willem Steenkamp. This one's made by, Kosi Steenkamp's brother, Willem Steenkamp, who's actually been making knives a lot longer. Which brings my point. Let's bring out this knife again. Two brothers that make knives, two totally different styles. And they're usually consistent all the time. Let me explain. Willem Steenkamp's way of making knives is just to make you a really beautiful custom using just one material, where it is just so stunning and so compelling that you don't even mind that there isn't much eye candy to look at, because the one eye candy that's on there is so freaking brilliant. I mean, I've never seen shredded marble carbon fiber that looks like that. We've got a zirconium pivot right there, and titanium, black titanium pot clip. As you can see, there's not much to talk about. Blade steel is M390, but I mean, it's really shiny and like pretty, and you know, if you want to carry something classy in your pocket, you go for this. Back to Kosi Steenkamp really quickly. He does two materials, or three materials on his knives. And the thing with him is he likes to make it so that it's all like one material, even though it's really two. But yet it's no less, Willem Steenkamp's work is no less compelling just because he only uses one material. It screams about the same as his brother's work, is what I'm saying. Two totally different styles, two totally different ways of making knives. You know, and yet they definitely get their statement out as far as putting out a beautiful artwork piece. Another one by Willem Steenkamp. This one is called I forgot to mention, this one's called the Hornet, by the way, in case you guys want to check it. This one's called the Hornet. This one's called the EDCTI. Don't ask me why it's called that, but that's what it's called. The EDCTI. They look very similar, but there's slight variation in shape between these two knives. Really just, you could even easily mistaken this one for a Hornet. But, you know, there is a difference if you look at it much closer. This knife is all brown micarta, going all the way through the knife. Again, his use of colors on a knife and the way he puts the material on the knife, which is very, very classy. He chooses correctly when it comes to putting the material on a knife. It's called the EDCTI 80, actually, is the name of this one. The gold pivot and the brown micarta just make a really nice combination. More micarta on the backspacer. He does like to do the one material up on all of his knives. It's really kind of cool. And we've also got a little sort of like a little bar here for a lanyard. If you're into that. I'm not. I don't like lanyards. This one's kind of special, and I'm kind of sad about this one because if you look closely, you can see where the titanium sort of rubbed off. That was my stupidity. I have to share that story because being a knife collector, we like our knives to be perfect, and we can also be very, very stupid when we do these things. But the knife had a scratch on it across the bolster. Okay, all you guys can start laughing in about 5 seconds. So I took some... I can't remember the name. I took some material. It's for cleaning titanium. Flitz. That's what it's called. Flitz. I took some Flitz and I started rubbing it, thinking that it would get rid of the scratch, and instead it got rid of the finish. I'm a real genius. This one has Damascus blade on it, and what makes this knife really unique is that this is literally the only one in the world that looks like this. If you were to, this is called the Clyde Challenor Viper, by the way. If you were to buy one of his Vipers, what you're going to get as far as an inlay, and Clyde Challenor does inlays on both sides of the knife, okay? He's a very special knife maker, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. But when you get one of his Vipers today, you're not going to get this design where the carbon fiber wraps around the bolster here, as you can see. You're going to get a coffin shape. If you go to his website, that's what you'll see. This was actually his original plan. He was going to make all of his knives look like this, where the red carbon fiber wraps around the bolster, wraps around the standoff here. That was his concept. Have it wrap around the standoff, until he realized what a pain in the ass it was to do, because it took him hours to get that, just to wrap around that. And that's when he realized that he's not going to do it again. And so he actually stopped producing Vipers for about a month and had to come up with a new design. And then, you know, he already made this one, and, you know, which I actually ordered. He actually made this one for me, and this is the only one that looks like this. I'm hoping that he's going to be at Blade Show, because I'm going to be there. I'm going to bring this knife with me to be serviced. Maybe he can put the finish back on it. I mean, I'm just crying that it looks like that. But yeah. So Clyde Challenor is a very special knife maker, in the sense that he kind of is the knife maker who is the face of dual knife making, meaning CNC machining and made by hand detail. And he's got a crew of about 2 other knife makers that put the knife together, but the knife doesn't go finished unless he looks at it and makes sure that all the details are perfect. One of the things that makes him so unique as a knife maker is his attention to detail. This little screw here just shoots out at you. See how it's like really shiny? Yeah, you can barely feel the standoff is so smooth on it. Really, really great. He's perfect with the action. He's got the action tuned in perfect. Just fantastic looking piece. Okay, moving on, we're going to be looking at 2 of the same knives. This one, again, made by Des Horn. This is called the Mvubu with Nitrobe 77. We've got sort of blue carbon fiber on it. I guess lightning strike carbon fiber. I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't think it's lightning strike, but it's blue carbon fiber nonetheless. Again, the laminate that he's famous for. Really beautiful screws. What makes this knife so unique is the action. Why is the action so unique? That's not on ceramic, guys. That's on washers only. A lot of people can't really figure out, how does this man do that with the washer? I mean, look at that. You'd think that's ceramic ball bearings, but it's not. It's a washer knife. And look, it's perfectly tuned in for centering. And that's one of the reasons why I love this one. I carry this one a lot. Just because that we've got a backspacer going all the way up. That's carbon fiber. Really nice black carbon fiber. Just a beautiful knife overall. This one is very special because this is the only Mvubu in the entire world that I know of, because he hasn't made another one like it ever again. This one runs on ceramic ball bearings, which is something that he never does with this model, but he did it for me. I ordered this one, and yeah, he made this one special for me. This is what I call my coronavirus knife. You know, the blue and the orange together was at the time of the pandemic, and he thought it was a really good idea, because we didn't have red, so he decided, well, I could do orange, and I thought orange would be great. Again, the laminate, and it's got carbon fiber in it, so the whole outer part is all carbon fiber, and then G10 for the blue and the orange on that. Sporting and Nitrobe 77 blade. You can see the logo there. I don't know if I can bring it up to the camera. You can see it says ceramic bearings on it. And then there's the Nitrobe 77 on there. There's Des Horn's signature. All right, so moving on. I don't know what this knife is doing here. This is supposed to be for the later video, so I'll take that out. This video is going to be a 2-parter. So on we go with the last 5 large knives in my collection. This one is the A11 front flipper model. Again, similar to the A9 that I showed you earlier, way over here. Again, Andre Van Heerden, Andre Thorburn making the knives. Really well done. Beautifully, perfectly centered. Runs on ceramic ball bearings. We've got blue fat blue carbon fiber. And a zirconium pivot. For those of you that are not familiar with fat carbon fiber, I don't know if the material is new, but I think they've only started putting that material on knives probably in the last 5 years, because before that they just had marble carbon fiber, shredded marble carbon fiber, lightning strike marble carbon fiber, and then this fat marble carbon fiber came out. The difference is that fat marble carbon fiber has colored resins in it, which allows it to have the blue in it stand out so well. So that's kind of new in the knife making world, if you want to say that. At least I'm saying that. Yeah. So it's got resins in it, but it's really just quite stunning the way they put that on there. We've got a titanium pocket clip. The blade steel is M390. It's sort of a huge sucker. The action's really nice. I love this one also. Moving on, this is the only Van Heerden knife that I own that's a solo piece, meaning, well, actually it's not even a solo piece, really. Again, another collaboration. But his name is the only one associated on the knife. This knife was made by Andre Van Heerden and Tasha Barucha, who is a French knife maker. The two of them got together and designed this one. The shape is made by Tasha. He made the design and the shape of the knife. It's made with snake wood, and as you guys can see, carbon fiber. All the way, around. I swear to God, this is all one piece. I don't know how he does that, but it's all one piece, not two. I know it sounds weird to say that, but we got carbon fiber lining all the way around it, and then the snake wood going around there. Zirconium pocket clip, and the blade steel is CTX HP. All right, my second Clyde Challenor knife, and this is a huge sucker. This one's the biggest knife in my collection. This is called the Clyde Challenor. Oh, man. I just went blank. Raptor. Thank you. There you go. This is the Clyde Challenor Raptor. I can't believe I didn't forget any of the names so far. We've got, again, the all titanium. The design on it, is done by Machine End Design. What's unique about this design is that he only made 50 of these Raptors. All of the 50 Raptors that he produced, the design on both the front and the back are totally one-offs. In other words, it's one design on one side and one design on the other side on all of the knives. So that is what makes it so unique. He doesn't do the cross screws anymore. The idea behind the cross screws is that you could use a regular screwdriver. But I think I've spoken about this before when he first came out with the Raptor and these cross screws. The idea was that you could use a regular screwdriver, but what happened was, poor Clyde, his customers kept using the wrong size screwdriver, and they kept screwing up his screws that he would get them back, and they looked like swastikas. Then he'd have to replace the screws and send them back, and he's like, I'm not doing the screws anymore. And as you guys can see on the Viper, when he made the screws look like this, he was basically saying, fuck you. By making them with nothing where you can't, do that, but obviously, you know, you could easily take it apart because there is the screw right there. But he didn't want to do this. Is sort of like his answer to the cross screws. In other words, he was saying you're not going to do that anymore. So he came up with the with that smooth screw there. Really just quite funny. This one I like the way it opens because you can middle finger flick it, and you also got the flipper. The action on it is always perfect and beautifully centered. Clyde Challenor, man, just a guy that really is obsessive about detail. This one, whereas this knife here was my very first custom. Yeah. Well, this one was my very first custom. This one was my very first custom ever made for me by Andre Thorburn. This is the only one that looks like this. He has made others with an eagle on it, but it doesn't look like this one. This is a one-of-a-kind. Most of the ones in this collection are a one-of-a-kind handmade knife, meaning you're never going to see another one like it ever again. Blade seal on this is M390. And we've got G10 for a backspacer. You know, I'm not too crazy about that, but it's fine. He does do really well with the file work. The file work is his signature work on there. That's something that he's really well known for, is the file work. The eagle was done by his wife, Marguerite. She does all the bolster work. I don't know if she does it anymore, but she used to do all the bolster work on the knives. We've got a nice titanium pocket clip there, and a beautiful front flipper. It's mostly an index front flipper knife. You can do it with your thumb, but it's quite awkward. Yeah, it doesn't feel as comfortable as if you're doing it with your index finger. White Westinghouse for the handle, by the way. And that's what makes this knife so stunning, is that the white Westinghouse on this looks like an eagle slammed right onto the bird. This would be like onto the knife. This would be like the beak. You know how some eagles have that brown aged on their beak? That's what this looks like. So it's really kind of cool. The last one in my collection is made by Erucus Blumeris. This is called the LL15. LL stands for liner lock, which I didn't know. I had to ask him. This one's a full dress piece. Let me open it up so you can see. It's just absolutely stunning. I love this one. We've got the blue Timascus bolster and the marble carbon fiber. Really nice and shiny, shimmery. I love that. And then we've got a Dama steel blade on that one, on this one here. Blue titanium pocket clip. I was going to ask him to put a Damascus pocket clip on there, but I just couldn't get the deal to go through. It was at the time of the pandemic, so I couldn't send it to him. We've got a Damascus backspacer there. Goes halfway up. Again, file work for Erucus Blumeris, more of a rope style file work, which he does by hand. Action's really great. Runs on ceramic ball bearings. Even the screws are like beautifully placed, where they're so small they kind of look like jewel. I do like that. Really just a great knife overall. The Erucus Blumeris LL15 full dress piece. So this is really a long video, so I do apologize for it being so long. This is part one of my year in review of my collection for 2022. Who knows how my collection is going to change in 2023. I will be back in a little bit to do part two of this video, which is my small and my medium knives. I might even break it up into two videos. Not that I have that many, but it just seems to make sense. These are the large customs. So yeah, you'll see my small and my mediums in the next video that I'm going to do a little later on today, or maybe tomorrow. But for now, I just wanted to get a video out there. This one is not a live video. I've decided to stop doing live videos for now until I can get a light, because you can't use your iPhone light on a live video. I don't know why, but you can't. So there is an option where you can go out and buy a small light that you can attach to your phone, so that you'll have a bright light, so that, you know, you'll be able to see everything. Because my last few videos, the lighting was just horrible, so decided to stop. So this is Omar, your knife of the party guy, signing off with part 1 of his South African knife collection for 2022. I will be back to do part 2 of this video, where I show you my mediums and my smalls. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you so much for watching, and please comment on my channel, whatever thoughts you may have regarding my collection. I'd love to hear from you. I always forget to tell you guys to please comment. You know, kind of want to have my channel go somewhere. Yeah, I do love my collection. I love talking about knives. So thank you so much for your support in 2022, and I can't wait to see where I'm going to go in 2023. So there you have it. I'll see you guys in a little bit with part 2 of this year in review of my South African knife collection. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.